He's like a
Bertram Ripley.
Yeah, Bertram Ripley, or an ambassador. He's one of our cast members. His 60th is today.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so exciting.
And he's going to be at rehearsal at Don Quixote in another hour.
Outstanding.
How's that look? Good?
A little tighter.
Tighter?
If I were you, I would get tighter on the eye line there. Maybe bring the whole thing up a touch.
So they interview and get in the costume.
Nice
Hi,
Hi.
I'm skinnier now.
So how are you going to play King Henry VIII now that you've lost 40 pounds?
Everybody has asked that. When I decided to start the weight loss, this was probably about 3-4 months ago. The first thing I did was place a call to the office and say, "It'd be all right if I lose some weight." And they want their actors healthy, and my costume pads me out enough. In addition, underneath my costume, I wear an ice vest. They make them for like a road cruise and mascots and things like that. So I'm wearing several layers. The bottom one of which is an ice vest to keep me cool, and that bulks me back out. I lost a lot of weight back in 2003 when I did Henry, and I maybe look a little skinnier around the face, but other than that, people didn't really notice or mind. So I'm sure they're not going to mind this year either. Plus, I hadn't planned this before I decided to lose the weight, but as it turns out, this year, in addition to playing Henry, they've also asked me to play Don Quixote in a noontime show at the Globe. So it's probably better that I lost the weight for that anyway, especially since this year, in the morning and the afternoon, obviously I'm going to be one of the most heavily dressed people on this site. But at noon, when the sun is highest in the sky, I run back to the dressing room, get out of my robes, get into costume as Don Quixote, go play Don Quixote on stage. My costume is much lighter, and bonus, in the middle of the show, I drop trowel on stage several times. I'm going from one of the most clothed people on site to one of the nakedest. And there's my Sancho right there. How you doing, Brian?
Whoa.
Over here, Brian. Over here.
Look, Brian, wave! It's Brian!
Oh,
it's
hey,
Sancho!
everybody!
Hey.
I got my feather.
I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, I'm actually going to...
The crickets are good because, when we're back here on the stage rehearsing, I mean, we got to put up with a lot of noise during a fair day, and we've got to scream to be heard over it. And having to rehearse here in the middle of the crickets kind of helps us and gets us ready for that.
So, are we going to tighten up, or are we going to stay wide around here? Yeah. Okay. So, what we really wanted to ask you today was, I mean, this is the last day, the last night. You have tomorrow, and then the fair starts up again.
Yeah, we've been in the middle of what is traditionally in theater known as Hell Week. We've been up rehearsing very, very late each night this week and all last weekend. And then Friday is traditionally our day off, and tomorrow it's our big day off, just to relax and recuperate and get ready to go first thing Saturday morning.
So how does it feel to be back again?
Oh, it's almost like I never left, except there's a little bit less of me this time around. It's great. I'm just right now just operating on fumes. I'm absolutely exhausted. I've got one more show that I'm going to go rehearse, and then that's it. We're ready to go. We ran through. We did our final run through of most of the court shows. I think all of them last night, and all of the problems were solved. All of the glitches were covered. We came through with flying colors. We did them in time, and as far as we're ready to go with those on Saturday morning.
So, when you arrive here, you pull in your car.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
Uh-huh.
You see the people starting to line up.
Uh-huh.
What do you feel in that moment?
Oh God, here we go again. No, they're sweet. It's there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of people that I haven't seen for like 9 months. So, pretty much since Fest closed last year, we stay in touch with each other online, and they're very well organized, and we send each other happy birthday greetings and so forth and so on. Every once in a while, we'll run into one or two of them out in public, but that's more of a chance thing. They get together a lot, but I just because of the pressures of life, it's like once Fest is over, once you actually get this much into Fest, once you get to the end, you just want to go away for a bit. So it's excitement, but it's a happy sort of excitement, you know, because you know that you're going to be renewing your acquaintance with a lot of them.
So, how much of Fred Nelson goes in to King Henry Tudor VIII?
Yeah. One hell of a lot, and the reason being is before I was cast as Henry, I grew up a military brat. I was raised and schooled overseas in a lot of DoD schools. My father was military, so I attended school in Spain, Korea, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and Guam. None of those schools really got in very heavily into the life and history of Henry VIII or Tudor history at all. So I pretty much had to learn as I went along. When I was originally cast back in '02, I was flying blind. I pretty much had to bring all of Fred Nelson to it and hope to God that it fit the mold, and hope that they didn't look at me and go, "He's not the king," and walk away. So a lot. I tend to think that the real Henry was probably much grumpier in real life than I am. But that's something that, you know, that's a necessity, because you're dealing with families and kids, and you know, while people are coming here for the historical accuracy of Henry and the wives and the you know, off with her head and that sort of thing, out on the street they don't necessarily want to see that. They want to see happy, jolly king. You know, somebody puts a child in my arms, you don't want to stick your child in the arms of you know, Mr. Grumpy 1543. You know, you want the happy side of Henry. So that's a lot of that is me.
I reminded of a poem by Thomas Wyatt writing about the way that Anne Boleyn was dealt with frightening speed.
Yeah.
And he wrote of Henry circa regna tonat, round the throne the thunder roars.
Yeah.
And you know, so
there is a lot of that, but most of that is confined to the scripted stuff, and that's for the real students of history that want to get that flavor of it, you know, in a real life atmosphere. For the rest of the day, it's a festival. People are here to have fun, you know. So it's kind of interesting bouncing back and forth between the two characters, but I think the necessities of the job, that's pretty much what it calls for. You know, you've got to be mean, horrible monarch dictator on stage, and then once you step off stage, you're dealing with families, you're dealing with kids, so you can't necessarily bring that aspect of the character out.
Okie dokie. Shut up. Okay.
I would like to ask you,
No more crickets.
what's the thing in Place Director?
Oh my God, they stopped. They recognize the voice of the king.
What's the thing you're looking most forward to this season? Or what's the thing you're looking most forward to on Saturday?
On Saturday, making sure that my schedule all works out with both Henry and Don Quixote. Earlier on this year, you know, they announced that the show that they were doing at the Globe at noon was going to be Don Quixote, and I thought, oh my God, you know, wouldn't that be fun playing Don Quixote? And I sent an email to the casting director, and I said, I know this is a shot in dark. I don't have a hope in hell, but if there is any way that you can fit Don Quixote into my schedule, I'd love to be considered for the role. And I assume that there would be no answer back. I assume that they would look at it and go, yeah, right, like that's going to happen. I got an email back, and they said, actually, we've already had thoughts in that general direction. So it's going to be a very packed schedule. I ride in, do opening gate. We do the morning dance, we do court photo op, and then we go over here to the gatehouse stage to do the morning court show. As soon as the morning court show is finished, boom, I'm backstage, stripping down out of the costume, getting into Don Quixote, and I'll show you the mustache thing in a bit. Getting into Don Quixote costume, performing as Don Quixote for about an hour and a half, come backstage, change into Henry, and then I'm Henry for the rest of the day. So I've got a very tight window. That's my biggest concern is just scheduling. But I think it's going to work out the way that they've got it set. And I've been training the mustache over the past. Watch this. Change from Henry. Bueno, hello, my friend. How are you? And then I'm Henry for the rest of the day. This is the sort of mustache that, when I put this mustache together, I cannot help but speak in this accent. Hello, my friend. How are you?
All right, but what's the thing you're looking most forward to?
Playing Don Quixote. Playing the king is great, and I am really comfortable in the role of playing the king. Playing Don Quixote, actually, it scares the hell out of me because it's not the sort of role that I'm used to playing. I feel extremely honored that they trusted me enough to put me in that role in addition to playing Henry. And I think I'm doing okay. We'll find out for sure Saturday at noon. But so far, I'm really having fun, and it's a great ensemble cast. I mean, it says Don Quixote, but he's really only in selected scenes throughout. There's the original Cervantes novel of Don Quixote was the sprawling big novel. That was so large that when our playwright was writing the script, it's an original script, he decided to break it up into 2 books. So we're doing the first book this year, and the game plan is, if this works out all right, we'll be doing the second book next year.
So I guess I have a couple more questions, but the one is, at some point shortly before 10 on Saturday morning, you're going to climb the stairs behind us here.
No. 9:45, I get on horseback. They start the show. I'm pointing like the camera can see. They start the show up here on the castle walls, and I ride in on horseback through the crowd at the very end of the show, and then make the big pronouncement, fire the cannon, open the gates, and then boom, come on in, and the whole day begins that way.
How do you feel that first moment when everybody sees you and they start cheering? You hear Your Majesty, King Henry. What is that like?
Truth be told, in reality, in real life, Fred is such a klutz. I'm just hoping that I don't end up falling off the horse and, oh my God, and I'm not wearing tights, and oh, killer bunnies are coming at my face, and then I realize it was all a dream, and I wake up and promise never to have kimchi before going to bed again. Edit that. No. I've been doing all sorts of theater outside fest for like 20-30 years now, and it's all pretty much the same thing. Just a couple of seconds before you make your entrance, there's a couple of butterflies. There's a little bit of nervousness even after all this time, but once those doors open or you step on stage, whatever the case may be, the butterflies continue for just a couple of seconds, but then they all dissipate and you realize you're doing the same thing that you've been rehearsing all of these weeks. There's just a couple of more people around to see it this time, that's all.
What else you got, Ron?
What's your favorite part of the opening day of Fair in the past years, and what you're...
The opening day?
Yeah.
It would have to be. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not in costume now. I will be getting into costume as Don Quixote in just a little bit. But normally we don't rehearse in costume. For the past 6 weeks, we've been out here rehearsing, very nearly every night and all day on the weekends. But up until now, we haven't gotten into costume. The costume mistress has taken measurements, and but we've been out here in shorts and a t-shirt. So I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is seeing everybody dressed in their costumes. I've got new colors this year. Cindy Anderson, our costume mistress, I've seen little swatches and stuff. She made me just a wonderful costume this year. I am in gold with forest green stripes, which incidentally are my high school colors. So I'm kind of jazzed about that.
I think our light is gone.
I can't see you anymore.
I think we're done by default.